My name is Lisa. I'm 43 years old, and today I saw what I should never have seen. The pawn shop receipt was crumpled in my Aunt Denise's purse like a guilty secret, and when I smoothed it out on my kitchen counter, the blood drained from my face so fast I had to grip the marble edge to keep from falling. Grandmother's emerald necklace, $2,500. Antique pearl choker, $800. Diamond tennis bracelet, $1,200. My hands shook as I read the list. These weren't just any pieces of jewelry. These were the family heirlooms that had been passed down through 4 generations of Washington women. The emerald necklace that great-grandmother Essie had worn to her wedding in 1923. The pearls that had graced Grandmama Ruth's throat at every church service for 60 years. The tennis bracelet that Mama had promised would be mine when she passed. The receipt was dated 3 days ago. I'd been looking for Tylenol in Denise's purse after she'd complained of a headache during Sunday dinner. She was upstairs using my bathroom, and I was just trying to help. Instead, I'd found evidence that my 58-year-old aunt had stolen and pawned our entire family legacy. The front door slammed upstairs, rattling the china in my dining room hutch. "Lisa, where you at, baby girl?" Denise's voice carried down to my basement kitchen, all sugar and fake concern. I stuffed the receipt in my back pocket and grabbed the Tylenol bottle, my heart hammering against my ribs. My mouth had gone desert dry, and I could taste copper on my tongue. "Down here!" I called back, amazed that my voice sounded normal when everything inside me was screaming. Her heels clicked across my hardwood floors upstairs, those expensive red-bottom shoes she'd been wearing lately, the ones I'd wondered how she could afford on her disability check. Now I knew. "You find them pills?" she asked as she descended my stairs, one manicured hand sliding along the banister. Everything about Denise had been upgraded lately. Her hair was fresh from the salon, her nails were professionally done, and that designer handbag she carried cost more than most people's rent. I should have seen it sooner. "Right here." I held up the bottle, studying her face. She looked tired despite the makeup, and there were stress lines around her eyes that hadn't been there 6 months ago. "You feeling better?" "Much, thank you." She reached for the pills, and I noticed her hands trembling slightly. "You always take such good care of everybody, Lisa. That's why you're my favorite niece." The lie rolled off her tongue so easily. I was her only niece. "Denise." I kept my voice level, measured. "Where's Grandmama's jewelry?" The pill bottle slipped from her fingers and hit my tile floor with a plastic crack that seemed to echo forever. White tablets scattered like tiny accusations across the black and white checkerboard pattern. Her face went ashy beneath her foundation. "What you talking about?" "The jewelry box from Mama's house, the one with all the family pieces." I pulled the receipt from my pocket slowly, like drawing a weapon. The emerald necklace, the pearls, the tennis bracelet. Denise's eyes fixed on that crumpled paper like it was a snake about to strike. Her throat worked, but no sound came out. "I found this in your purse," I said, my voice getting harder with each word. "3 days ago, you took our family heirlooms to Pete's Pawn on MLK Boulevard and sold them for $4,500. "Lisa, baby, I can explain." "Can you?" I stepped closer, and she backed up against my kitchen island. "Can you explain how you stole jewelry that belonged to all of us? Jewelry that was supposed to go to my daughter someday? It wasn't like that." Her voice cracked. "I was gonna get them back. I just needed money." The word came out flat and cold. "You needed money for what, Denise?" She looked away, her gaze sliding to my kitchen window where the morning sun was streaming through my yellow curtains. Those curtains that Grandmama had helped me hang when I bought this house 15 years ago. Back when our family still trusted each other. "The casino," she whispered. My blood turned to ice water in my veins. What casino? Rivers. I've been going to Rivers Casino. Her voice was so quiet I had to strain to hear her. Started going after Marcus left me. Just for something to do, you know? Just to get out the house. Marcus, her boyfriend of 3 years who'd moved out 6 months ago. Right around the time Denise had started looking more expensive and acting more secretive. How much? I asked. How much what? How much do you owe? She pressed her lips together, shaking her head. How much, Denise? 23,000. The number hit me like a physical blow. I actually stumbled backward, my hip bumping into the counter. $23,000? It wasn't supposed to get that bad. Tears were streaming down her cheeks now, cutting tracks through her makeup. I was winning at first, won big a few times, but then you lost it all and kept playing. I could barely breathe. And when you ran out of your own money, you started stealing from the family. I borrowed it, she snapped, some of her old fire returning. I was going to pay it back. With what money? You're on disability. You haven't worked in 5 years. I was going to win it back. She was shouting now, her voice echoing off my kitchen walls. I had a system. I was so close to hitting big. I stared at this woman who'd helped raise me after Daddy died, who'd braided my hair for school pictures and taught me how to fry chicken, who'd held my hand during Mama's funeral last year and promised we'd always be family, always take care of each other. You stole from Mama's memory, I said quietly. That stopped her cold. Her mouth fell open and fresh tears spilled over. Those weren't just pieces of jewelry, Denise. That necklace was the only thing great-grandmother Essie had of value when she came up from Mississippi. She wore it on the day she married great-granddaddy Samuel. Grandmama wore those pearls to every important moment of her life. Mama's engagement party, my wedding, Keisha's baptism. I know, she sobbed. Do you? Do you really know what you've done? I was shaking now, adrenaline and rage coursing through me. Those pieces carried our history, our legacy. They were supposed to go to my daughter, and then to her daughter. You broke a chain that went back 100 years. Denise slumped against my island, her designer purse sliding to the floor beside the scattered pills. I'm sick, Lisa. This gambling thing, it's like a sickness. I can't stop. So you decided to make it our family sickness too. I was desperate. They were calling me, threatening me. These people don't play, Lisa. They said if I didn't pay. Who said? Who's threatening you? She shook her head frantically. I can't tell you that. The hell you can't. I moved closer until I was standing right in front of her. You involved our whole family when you stole from us. Now you're going to tell me who's making threats. Some men. They work for the casino, but not officially. They collect debts. My stomach dropped. Loan sharks. I guess. They gave me money to keep playing when I was tapped out. Said it was no problem. Just pay it back when I hit my big win. But the interest? She covered her face with her hands. The interest keeps growing. 23,000 now, but it goes up every week. I grabbed her wrists and pulled her hands away from her face. Look at me. Look at me, Denise. Her eyes were red and swollen, mascara streaked down her cheeks like black tears. Are these people dangerous? She nodded. How dangerous? The kind that break legs first and ask questions later. Jesus. My mind raced, trying to process this nightmare. Not only had my aunt stolen our family treasures, but she'd gotten involved with criminals who might come after all of us. Where's the money from the jewelry? Gone. Her voice was barely a whisper. All of it? I thought I could win back what I owed with it. Thought if I just had that stake money, I could get ahead of the debt. But you lost it all." She nodded miserably. I walked away from her, needing space to think. My kitchen suddenly felt too small, too hot. I opened the back door and stepped onto my deck, gulping the cool October air. Behind me, I could hear Denise crying. Deep, broken sobs that sounded like they were tearing her apart from the inside. Part of me wanted to comfort her, to wrap my arms around her like I had when she'd cried at Mama's funeral. But a bigger part of me was so angry I could barely see straight. Those jewelry pieces weren't just valuables. They were touchstones to our family's past, connections to women who'd survived slavery and Jim Crow and poverty and heartbreak. Women who'd passed down their strength along with their treasures. Now, they were sitting in some pawn shop, waiting to be sold to strangers who would never know their history. I turned around to find Denise standing in my doorway, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm so sorry, Lisa." "Sorry doesn't bring back great-grandmother's necklace." "I know." "Sorry doesn't fix what you've done to our family." "I know." "And sorry sure as hell doesn't protect us from these loan sharks you've brought into our lives." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Have you told anyone else about this?" I asked. "No, just you." "What about Cousin Regina or Aunt Pearl?" "Nobody knows but you." At least there was that. The last thing we needed was for the whole family to panic. "We have to get the jewelry back," I said. "Lisa, I can't afford—" "We have to get it back." My voice cut through her protests like a blade. "I don't care what it takes. Those pieces belong to our family, and I'll be damned if I let them disappear forever because of your gambling problem." Hope flickered in her eyes. "You'll help me?" "I'll help save our family legacy, but you?" I stepped closer, making sure she could see how serious I was. "You're going to get help. Real help. Gamblers Anonymous, therapy, whatever it takes. And you're never, ever going to set foot in another casino as long as you live." "Okay, yes, I'll do whatever you want." "This isn't about what I want, Denise. This is about what you owe. To me, to Mama's memory, to every woman in our family who trusted you." She nodded, tears still streaming. I pulled out my phone and started calculating. The pawn shop would want more than the original loan amount to get the jewelry back. Probably at least $6,000, maybe $7,000. I had some savings, but not that much. I'd have to take out a loan, maybe against my house. "How long before these loan sharks expect their money?" I asked. 2 weeks? 2 weeks? My voice shot up an octave. "You owe $23,000 to dangerous people, and you only have 2 weeks to pay it?" I know how it sounds. It sounds like you've lost your damn mind. I started pacing across my deck, my mind racing. Even if I could get the jewelry back, that wouldn't solve the bigger problem. These criminals would still want their money, and Denise sure didn't have it. "There's something else," she said quietly. I stopped pacing. "What else?" "They know where you live." The words hit me like ice water. "What did you just say?" "When they were asking about my family, about who might help me pay, I might have mentioned that my niece owns a nice house in Shadyside." "You gave them my address?" "Not exactly, but they could find it if they wanted to." My legs went weak. I sank into one of my deck chairs, the weight of what she'd done crashing over me like a wave. "Denise." My voice was deadly quiet. "Are you telling me that you've put my life in danger? My daughter's life? Keisha doesn't even live here anymore. She visits." She stays here on weekends. I was on my feet again, moving toward her. You've brought criminals into our lives, stolen our family treasures, and now you're telling me these people might come after me for your debts? I didn't mean for it to happen like this. But it did happen like this, because of choices you made, because you decided your gambling was more important than your family. She was crying again, but I was past caring about her tears. My mind was already moving to the next problem, the next crisis I'd have to solve because of her selfishness. I need to call the pawn shop, I said. Find out exactly how much it'll cost to get our jewelry back. What about the other money? The $23,000? I looked at her for a long moment. This woman who'd helped shape my childhood, who'd been like a second mother to me after Daddy died. Now she was asking me to bankrupt myself to save her from her own mistakes. I don't know, I said honestly. But we're going to figure it out, because that's what family does, even when family doesn't deserve it. The relief on her face was so profound, it almost broke my heart. Almost. But as I walked back into my kitchen to call Pete's pawn shop, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning, that the knock I'd heard this morning, the sound of Denise's secrets finally catching up to her, was about to change all our lives in ways I couldn't even imagine. I dialed Pete's pawn shop with shaking fingers, my throat tight as sandpaper. Pete's, this is Carmen speaking. Hi, I need to ask about some jewelry that was brought in recently. Pearl necklace, emerald earrings, gold bracelet with... Hold on, honey. You got ticket numbers? My eyes shot to Denise, who was still hovering in my doorway like a ghost. Ticket numbers? She shook her head miserably. No ticket numbers, I told Carmen, but the items are very distinctive. Family heirlooms. They would have been brought in by Denise Williams. A pause. Computer keys clicking. Yeah, I got the Williams pieces right here. Beautiful stuff. Real shame. How much to buy them back? Well, she got $800 for the lot, but our buyback is always higher. You're looking at $1,400, maybe $1,500. I closed my eyes. At least it wasn't the $6,000 I'd feared. Can you hold them? I'll be there this afternoon. Sure thing. But I can only hold for 24 hours unless you put down a deposit. I'll be there today. I hung up and turned to face Denise. $1,500. I can cover that. Thank you, Lisa. I'll pay you back, I swear. No. I held up my hand. We're done with your promises. Now tell me exactly who these loan sharks are and how we're going to handle them. She shifted uncomfortably. Their names are Vicky and Shauna. They run numbers and loans out of the north side. 2 women? Yeah, but don't let that fool you. Vicky's got connections. Real connections. The way she said it made my skin crawl. What kind of connections? The kind that make people disappear. I stared at her. This was my aunt, the woman who used to braid my hair and sneak me extra cookies. Now she was talking about people who make other people disappear. How did you even meet them? At the Rivers Casino. They were always there, always had money to lend to people like me. People like you? People who were in too deep? The contempt in my voice surprised even me. You mean people who were too weak to stop gambling away their families' lives? She flinched. Lisa, please. Please what? Please pretend this is normal? Please act like you haven't destroyed everything our grandmother worked for? I know I messed up. You didn't mess up, Denise. You made choices. Every single day you chose gambling over family. You chose strangers over the people who loved you. Her face crumpled, but I wasn't finished. And now you want me to risk my house, my safety, my daughter's future to clean up your mess. I never asked you to. You didn't have to ask. You knew exactly what you were doing when you came here. You knew I'd feel responsible because you raised me. You're manipulating me just like you manipulated those jewelry pieces out of their boxes. That's not fair. Fair? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about fair? Fair would be you facing the consequences of your own actions instead of dumping them on me. She straightened up, and for a moment I saw a flash of the old Denise, the one who never backed down from a fight. Fine, she said. You're right. I am manipulating you, because that's what desperate people do. And yes, I knew you'd help because you're a good person who was raised to take care of family. The honesty caught me off guard. But you know what else is true? She continued. If you don't help me, those women are going to hurt me, maybe kill me, and then they're going to come looking for you anyway, because I already told them about your house. So now you're threatening me? I'm telling you the truth. We're both in this now, whether you like it or not. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. She was right. Even if I walked away, even if I let her face the consequences alone, I'd already been dragged into this. You're unbelievable, I said. Even now, even after everything, you're still thinking about how to use people. I'm thinking about how to survive. By dragging me down with you? By asking my family for help. Family doesn't steal from family, Denise. Family doesn't abandon family either. The words hung between us like a challenge. I wanted to hate her. God, I wanted to hate her so much. But underneath all my anger was something else. Fear. Not just of the loan sharks, but of what would happen to our family if I lost her too. My phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. Your aunt mentioned you. We should meet. Today. Shadyside Park, 3 p.m. Come alone. V. My blood turned to ice. I held up the phone so Denise could see. Her face went white. Oh God, Lisa, I'm so sorry. They have my number? When they were asking about you, I might have. You gave them my phone number too? She nodded miserably. I stared at the message, my hands shaking. These strangers now had my address, my phone number, and apparently enough confidence to summon me to a meeting like I was one of their debtors. What happens if I don't go? They'll come here. And if I do go? I don't know. Maybe they'll work something out. Work something out? My voice was getting higher. Denise, these aren't bill collectors. These are criminals. They don't work things out. Vicky's not unreasonable. Stop. I held up my hand. Just stop talking. I need to think. But thinking was hard when my heart was pounding and my mouth was dry, and my whole world had shifted on its axis in the space of one morning. I looked at my beautiful kitchen, the granite countertops I'd saved for, the custom cabinets I'd picked out so carefully. This house represented everything I'd worked for, everything I'd built since David left. And now, it was all at risk because Denise couldn't stay away from a poker table. There's something else, she said quietly. I closed my eyes. What now? The jewelry. That wasn't the first time. What do you mean? I mean, I've been borrowing things from the family for months. Little things. Things I thought people wouldn't miss. What things? Mama's china. A few pieces. Some silver. Mama's china? My voice cracked. The set she got for her wedding? The one she only used on holidays? Just a few pieces. A serving platter, some cups. Where are they? Gone. Pawned. Months ago. I felt like I was drowning. Every revelation was another weight pulling me under. What else? That's all. I swear. Don't. I pointed at her. Don't you dare swear to me. Your word isn't worth anything anymore. She started crying again, but I was beyond caring about her tears. I need you to leave, I said. Lisa, I need you to leave so I can figure out how to handle this meeting without getting us both killed. Let me come with you. Are you insane? You're the reason they want to meet. You think I'm bringing the problem to the solution? She nodded reluctantly. What should I do? Go home. Stay there. Don't answer your door. Don't answer your phone unless it's me. And for God's sake, don't go anywhere near a casino. After she left, I sat in my kitchen staring at that text message. Shadyside Park, at 3 p.m., 4 hours from now. I thought about calling the police, but what would I tell them? That I was meeting some women about my aunt's gambling debts? They'd probably tell me it was a civil matter. I thought about not going. But then what? They'd come here. Maybe when Keisha was visiting. Maybe when I was sleeping. I thought about David, wondered if I should call him. But what could he do from Charlotte? Besides, we weren't married anymore. This wasn't his problem. No, this was mine now. Mine and Denise's. I looked around my kitchen one more time, memorizing it. Because something told me that after today, nothing was going to be the same. I spent the next hour pacing my house like a caged animal, my mind racing through scenarios that all ended badly. By noon, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed information, needed to understand what I was walking into. The pawn shop sat wedged between a check-cashing place and a beauty supply store on East Liberty, the kind of neighborhood where you kept your purse close and your eyes moving. I'd driven past this strip 1,000 times, but never really seen it. Now, every detail felt sharp and threatening. The bell above the door chimed as I walked in, and the smell hit me immediately. Stale cigarettes, old metal, and something else I couldn't name. Desperation, maybe. Help you? The woman behind the counter looked like she'd seen everything twice. Gray hair pulled back tight, arms crossed, eyes that missed nothing. I'm looking for some jewelry that was pawned here recently. Family heirlooms. You got a ticket? My aunt pawned them, Denise Williams. Her expression shifted just slightly. Recognition, maybe concern. You family? Her niece. I'm trying to get them back. She studied me for a long moment, then glanced toward the back of the store. Wait here. She disappeared through a doorway, and I heard low voices, urgent whispers. When she came back, she had a younger woman with her, maybe 30, with bright purple hair and tattoos covering both arms. I'm Keisha, the younger woman said. Not your Keisha, different Keisha. I was here when your aunt came in. Can you tell me about the jewelry? Beautiful pieces, real gold, real stones. Your aunt was upset when she brought them in. Upset how? Keisha glanced at the older woman, who nodded. Crying, shaking. She kept saying she was sorry, that she didn't have a choice. My chest tightened. What else did she say? She asked me to take care of them, said they belonged to someone special, someone who'd be coming for them soon. Keisha leaned closer, lowering her voice. She also said if anyone else came asking about them, especially 2 women named Vicky and Shauna, I should call the police. The blood drained from my face. Did they come? Yesterday, right before closing. What did they want? They wanted to know who owned the jewelry originally, had descriptions of every piece, knew exactly what your aunt had pawned. The older woman spoke up. Those women aren't customers. They're something else entirely. What do you mean? Been in this business 30 years? She said. I know the difference between someone pawning their grandmother's ring for rent money and someone casing a place. Those 2 were casing. Casing for what? Information, They wanted to know about you. My legs felt weak. Me specifically? Asked if anyone had come asking about Denise Williams' items. Asked if we had security cameras. Asked about our alarm system. Keisha nodded. The tall one, Vicky, she was real interested in our records. Wanted to know if we kept copies of IDs. Do you? We have to, but I told her the system was down. Keisha smiled grimly. System works fine. I just didn't like her attitude. What did she look like? Tall, maybe 5'10". Red hair, expensive clothes. The kind of woman who's used to getting what she wants. Her friend was shorter, darker skin, gold teeth, quiet, but mean quiet. Like she was sizing up the place for later. Later? The older woman leaned across the counter. Honey, I don't know what your aunt got herself into, but those women aren't just loan sharks. There's something worse. How do you know? Because after they left, I called my nephew. He works downtown, knows the street. Asked him about a woman named Vicky who loans money. What did he say? He said to pray I never see her again. My phone buzzed, another text. Change of plans, Tony's Diner on Penn Avenue, 2:30, don't be late. I showed them the message. Keisha whistled low. That's not good, she said. Why? Tony's is where people go to have conversations they don't want overheard. Back booth, cash only, no cameras. How do you know that? Because my ex used to meet his bookie there. The older woman was already moving toward a file cabinet. I'm giving you the jewelry now, for free. What? Your aunt paid $300 for a 2-week hold. I'm calling it even and giving you everything back. But the $1,500 was a lie. She only borrowed $300 from us. The rest of that debt, that's between her and them. She pulled out a small velvet bag and set it on the counter. I opened it with shaking hands and nearly cried. Mama's wedding ring, the one with the tiny diamonds. Grandma Ruth's pearl earrings, the gold bracelet Daddy gave Mama for their anniversary. Why are you doing this? Because those women scared me, she said simply. And because your aunt was genuinely sorry. Most people who come in here are just desperate. She was heartbroken. I clutched the bag to my chest, feeling some small piece of my world snap back into place. There's more, Keisha said. After they left yesterday, I followed them. You what? I was curious and worried. They got into a black Escalade with jersey plates, but they didn't leave right away. They sat there for 20 minutes, making phone calls. Did you hear anything? Some of it. Vicky was talking to someone about expanding their territory. Said Pittsburgh was ready for their kind of business. What kind of business? The kind where people disappear when they don't pay up. My phone rang. Unknown number. Don't answer it, Keisha said quickly, but I was already swiping to accept. Hello? Lisa. The voice was smooth, controlled. This is Vicky. I assume you got my message about the change of venue. I got it. Good. I appreciate punctuality. Brings clarity to complicated situations. What do you want? What I want is to resolve your aunt's debt in a way that works for everyone. What I don't want is to make this more difficult than it needs to be. My aunt's debt is her problem. See, that's where you're wrong. Your aunt made it your problem when she started using your family's property as collateral. The jewelry was hers to pawn. Was it, though? Because from what I understand, those pieces belonged to your mother, your grandmother, your family's legacy. My grip tightened on the phone. How do you... I make it my business to understand the people I work with. Your aunt borrowed $5,000 6 weeks ago. She's paid back $800. The interest and fees bring her current balance to $7,200. That's impossible. She said $5,000 total. Your aunt says a lot of things. Most of them aren't true. I looked at Keisha and the older woman, both watching me with worried expressions. I need to see documentation of this debt. Vicky laughed, a sound like ice cracking. This isn't a bank, sweetheart. We don't do paperwork. We do trust. And your aunt violated that trust. Then we don't have anything to discuss. Oh, but we do. Because your aunt also told us about your house. Nice place, good neighborhood. The kind of property that holds its value. The threat was clear as daylight. I closed my eyes, feeling the walls closing in. What exactly are you proposing? 2:30, Tony's Diner. Come alone and we'll work something out. Don't come. She paused. Well, let's just say your aunt won't be the only one with problems. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my hands shaking. What did she say? Keisha asked. She wants to use my house as collateral. The older woman shook her head. Don't do it. Whatever they're offering, don't do it. If I don't, they'll hurt Denise. If you do, they'll own you both. I looked at the velvet bag in my hands, at these small, precious things that had survived wars and poverty and generations of struggle, only to nearly disappear because my aunt couldn't resist a poker game. There has to be another way, I said. There is, Keisha said quietly, but you're not going to like it. What? My cousin Marcus, he's connected, knows people who know people. He might be able to help. What kind of help? The kind that makes problems like Vicky and Shauna go away permanently. The older woman looked alarmed. Keisha, don't. She needs options, Keisha said firmly. These women aren't going to just disappear because Lisa pays them. They're going to keep coming back, keep escalating, until they own her completely. I felt like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down into darkness. I can't, I said. I won't become them. Then you better hope you can outthink them, Keisha said, because they're not playing by normal rules. I left the pawn shop with the jewelry and a phone number I hoped I'd never have to use. But as I drove toward Tony's Diner, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was already in deeper than I'd ever imagined. And the worst part? I was starting to realize that Denise's gambling problem was just the beginning. I pulled into Tony's Diner, feeling like I was driving to my own execution. The parking lot was mostly empty, except for a few beat-up cars and that black Escalade with jersey plates. My hands were slick on the steering wheel. The diner looked like every other roadside joint in Pittsburgh. Cracked vinyl booths, fluorescent lights that flickered, and the smell of grease that had soaked into every surface over decades. But today, it felt different. Dangerous. I spotted them immediately. 2 women in a corner booth, backs to the wall, clear view of every entrance. Vicky was exactly what I'd expected. Sharp suit, manicured nails, the kind of blonde hair that cost more than most people's rent. But it was Shauna who made my skin crawl. Built like a linebacker, tattoos covering her arms, eyes that looked through you instead of at you. Lisa. Vicky's smile was all teeth, no warmth. Right on time. I respect that. I slid into the booth across from them, keeping my purse close. Inside was the velvet bag with the jewelry and a small can of pepper spray I'd grabbed from my glove compartment. Fat lot of good it would do me. Let's get this over with, I said. Straight to business. I like that too. Vicky signaled the waitress for coffee. Your aunt owes us $7,200. You have 3 days to pay it. Or we start collecting in other ways. Shauna leaned forward, her voice like gravel in a cement mixer. Nice house you got on Melwood Avenue. Real nice neighborhood. Be a shame if something happened to it. My blood went cold. You've been watching my house? We've been watching everything, Vicky said smoothly. Your job at the credit union? Your morning routine? The fact that you live alone since your mama passed? It's amazing how much you can learn about someone when you put your mind to it. The waitress brought coffee with shaking hands. Word had clearly gotten around about who these women were. What do you want from me? Simple. Sign over a second mortgage on your house. We'll arrange the paperwork. 7,000 now, and we'll call it even. That's not how mortgages work. It is when you know the right people. Vicky pulled out a manila folder. We have friends in the lending business. Very accommodating friends. I stared at the papers without touching them. What's the catch? No catch. Just a very reasonable interest rate. 25% annually. 25%? That's insane. That's business. Shauna cracked her knuckles. The sound echoed through the diner like gunshots. And if I refuse? Then we move to Plan B, Vicky said. Which involves your aunt having an unfortunate accident. Maybe a fall down some stairs. Maybe a car that doesn't brake quite right. These things happen to people who don't pay their debts. You're talking about murder. I'm talking about consequences. My phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. We know you're in there. Stay calm. I glanced around the diner, trying not to be obvious about it. In the parking lot, I could see a van that hadn't been there when I arrived. 2 figures sitting inside. Something wrong? Vicky asked, noticing my distraction. Just checking the time. Another text. When you leave, drive straight home. Don't stop. Don't look back. My heart was hammering against my ribs. Someone was watching this meeting. Someone who knew my number. I need time to think about this, I said. You have until Friday at midnight. After that? Vicky shrugged. Well, let's just say we'll have to get creative. And if I sign, what guarantee do I have that you'll leave my aunt alone? My word. Your word means nothing to me. Shauna's hand moved to something under her jacket. Maybe you need some motivation to take this seriously. Shauna, Vicky's voice was sharp. We're in public. So? So we're civilized people having a civilized conversation. The waitress dropped a plate behind the counter. The crash made everyone jump except Vicky and Shauna. I'll need to see the actual loan documents, I said, and I want Denise here when we finalize anything. Your aunt is indisposed at the moment. What does that mean? It means she's somewhere safe while we work out the details of her debt. The words hit me like a physical blow. You're holding her prisoner. We're ensuring she doesn't do anything stupid while we negotiate. I started to stand up, but Shauna's hand shot across the table and grabbed my wrist. Her grip was like a steel trap. Sit down, she growled. Let go of me. Not until we finish talking. Vicky looked annoyed. Shauna, please. We're trying to build trust here. Trust? I laughed, but it came out strangled. You kidnapped my aunt and you want to talk about trust? We didn't kidnap anyone. Your aunt is staying with some friends of ours until Friday. Think of it as protective custody. My phone buzzed again. Police on the way. Keep them talking. I felt a surge of hope mixed with terror. If the police were coming, things were about to get very complicated very quickly. Where is she? Safe, comfortable, being treated well as long as you cooperate. I want to talk to her. That's not possible right now. Then I'm walking out of here. Shauna's grip tightened. No, you're not. The van in the parking lot started moving. I could see it through the window pulling closer to the diner entrance. You're making a mistake, I said to Vicky. I work for a credit union. I know people in law enforcement. They'll notice if I disappear. Who said anything about disappearing? You're going to sign the papers, pay your aunt's debt, and everyone goes home happy. And if I don't? Then your aunt goes home in a body bag, and you get to live with knowing it was your fault. The diner door chimed. 3 women walked in, all business suits, all moving with purpose. They didn't look like customers. Vicky noticed them too. Her expression shifted slightly, losing some of its confidence. "Friends of yours?" I asked. "I don't know what you're talking about." But I could see the calculation happening behind her eyes. The women were spreading out, taking positions around the diner. Professional, coordinated. My phone buzzed. "Marcus's people. You're safe now." Marcus, Keisha's cousin, the one with connections. "Looks like I'm not the only one with friends," I said. Shauna was looking nervous for the first time since I'd walked in. Her hand was still under her jacket, but she was glancing around like a trapped animal. "This isn't over," Vicky said quietly. "No, it's not, but it's changing." One of the suited women approached our table. She was tall, elegant, with silver hair and eyes that had seen everything twice. "Ladies," she said pleasantly, "I'm Detective Carmen Rodriguez, Pittsburgh PD Financial Crimes Unit. Mind if I join you?" Vicky's face went pale. "We were just leaving." "Actually, I think you should stay. We have some questions about loan sharking operations in the greater Pittsburgh area." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you don't." Rodriguez slid into the booth next to me. "Ms. Washington, I understand these women have been harassing you about a debt?" "They have my aunt." "No, they don't." Rodriguez smiled. "Your aunt is currently safe at the Allegheny County Sheriff's Office, giving a statement about illegal gambling operations and extortion." The relief hit me like a physical wave. Denise was safe. Vicky stood up abruptly. "We're done here." "Actually, you're not." Rodriguez gestured to her colleagues. "Vicky Chen and Shauna Martinez, you're under arrest for extortion, illegal gambling, and operating an unlicensed lending business. You've got nothing. We've got your aunt's testimony, recorded phone calls, and a very detailed account of your business practices from someone who used to work for you." "Who?" Rodriguez smiled. "Someone who got tired of watching you destroy families." As the handcuffs clicked into place, Vicky looked at me with pure hatred. "This isn't over, Lisa. We have friends. Lots of them." "Maybe. But today, I have better friends than you do." After they were led away, Rodriguez turned to me. "You okay?" "I think so. How did you know to be here?" "Marcus Washington has been feeding us information about these operations for months. When his cousin called and said you were in trouble, we mobilized fast." "Marcus is working with you?" "Marcus is trying to clean up his neighborhood. Sometimes that means working with law enforcement." I felt like I'd been holding my breath for hours and could finally exhale. "What happens now?" "Now you go home, hug your aunt, and try to put this behind you. We'll handle the rest." "What about the debt? The interest?" "What debt? According to our investigation, your aunt borrowed $500 6 weeks ago. She's already paid back $600. Anything beyond that was illegal usury." "500? But she said—" "Your aunt was scared. People say a lot of things when they're scared." I walked out of that diner feeling like I'd survived a war. But as I drove home, Rodriguez's words kept echoing in my mind. "We have friends. Lots of them." Vicky and Shauna were in custody, but they were small fish. Somewhere out there were bigger fish, and now I was on their radar. The war, I realized, had just started, but for the first time in days, I felt like I might actually win it. The relief lasted exactly 47 minutes. I was pulling into my driveway, already planning how I'd hold Denise and never let her go again, when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Lisa Washington? Who is this?" "Someone who wants to help you understand what you just stepped in." I killed the engine but didn't get out. Something in the voice, female, older, careful, made me pay attention. I'm listening. Vicky and Shauna weren't the problem. They were the distraction. What do you mean? Meet me at Kennywood's parking lot. Section C, 20 minutes. Lady, I don't know who. Your aunt is still in danger. So are you. 20 minutes. The line went dead. I sat in my car, hands shaking on the steering wheel. Every instinct screamed to go inside, lock the door, pretend this was over. But that voice? There'd been something urgent, almost desperate about it. My phone buzzed. A text from the same number. Photo of your house from across the street, taken 5 minutes ago. Ice water flooded my veins. I looked around, scanning every parked car, every shadow. Nothing looked out of place, but that meant exactly nothing. Another text. They're watching you right now. Come alone or don't come at all. I started the car. Kennywood's off-season parking lot stretched like an empty ocean under gray clouds. Section C was near the back, where the asphalt cracked and weeds pushed through. I parked next to a rust-colored Buick and waited. A woman got out of the passenger side. Mid-50s, silver streaked through black hair, wearing scrubs like she'd just gotten off a hospital shift. She moved with purpose, but kept checking over her shoulder. You Lisa? Yeah, you are? Someone who used to work for the people you just pissed off. She slid into my passenger seat without invitation. Name's Carmen. Not the detective. Different Carmen. Up close, I could see the exhaustion in her face, the way her hands trembled slightly. This woman was running from something. Vicky and Shauna are in jail. Vicky and Shauna are foot soldiers. You think arresting them stops anything? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Girl, you just kicked a hornet's nest with a stick. The detective said, the detective knows what she knows. She doesn't know about the judge. My stomach dropped. What judge? Judge Patricia Holloway, Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. She's been taking money from the operation for 3 years, fixing cases, reducing sentences, making evidence disappear. How do you know this? Because I kept the books. Every payment, every favor, every dirty dollar that changed hands. She pulled out a flash drive. It's all on here. I stared at the small device like it was a live grenade. Why are you giving this to me? Because I'm dying. Her voice was matter of fact. Pancreatic cancer, 6 months, maybe less, and because they killed my daughter. The parking lot suddenly felt too quiet. Even the wind had stopped. What happened? Melissa was 23, smart as a whip, studying to be a social worker. She found out what I was doing, threatened to turn me in. Carmen's voice cracked. 3 days later, she was dead. Car accident, they said. Brake failure. Jesus. I've been collecting evidence ever since. Names, dates, amounts. But I needed someone clean to pass it to. Someone they hadn't bought yet. Why me? Because your aunt isn't the first person they've targeted. There are dozens of families like yours, all being bled dry by this machine. And because Detective Rodriguez is one of the good ones, but she's working inside a system that's compromised. My phone rang. Rodriguez. Answer it, Carmen whispered. Act normal. Hello? Lisa, where are you? I went by your house. No one's home? I'm running errands. Why? We need to talk. There's been a development. Carmen was shaking her head frantically, mouthing, No. What kind of development? Vicky and Shauna made bail 2 hours ago. The world tilted. How is that possible? Emergency hearing. Judge Holloway approved it personally. Said there wasn't enough evidence to hold them. Carmen was writing on a napkin. She's one of them. Where are you right now? Rodriguez asked again. I'm at the grocery store. Giant Eagle on Penn. Stay there. I'm coming to get you. Is that necessary? Lisa, these women are dangerous and they just walked free? Yes, it's necessary. The line went dead. Carmen was already getting out of the car. You can't trust her, she said through the window. Rodriguez might be clean, but Holloway owns half the department. What am I supposed to do with this? I held up the flash drive. Find someone outside the system. A journalist, maybe, or federal authorities. What about you? I'm disappearing. Tonight. Had a bag packed for weeks. She paused. Your aunt is safe for now, but only because this is getting too much attention. That won't last. Carmen, wait! But she was already walking away, moving fast toward the Buick. I watched her drive off, leaving me alone with a flash drive that could apparently destroy a judge, and God knew who else. My phone buzzed. Text message. We know where you are. We know what she gave you. You have 1 hour to decide if you want to end up like her daughter. I looked around the empty parking lot, suddenly aware of how exposed I was. In the distance, I could see a black SUV parked near the entrance, too far away to make out plates or faces. Another text. Penn Hills Cemetery. Section 7. Melissa Rodriguez's grave. Go look at it, then decide if you want to keep playing games. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely start the car. But I drove to that cemetery, parked, and walked through rows of headstones until I found it. Melissa Carmen Rodriguez, 1998-2021. Beloved daughter taken too soon. The flowers on the grave were fresh. Red roses with a card. We remember. I understood the message. They wanted me to know they could reach anyone, anywhere. Even in death, they owned the narrative. But as I stood there, something else occurred to me. Carmen had said Rodriguez was clean. Melissa Rodriguez. Same last name. The detective wasn't just working this case. This was personal. My phone rang again. Rodriguez. Lisa, where are you? I've been looking everywhere. I'm at Penn Hills Cemetery. Long pause. What are you doing there? Visiting your daughter's grave. The silence stretched so long, I thought the call had dropped. Who told you? Someone who wants justice for what happened to her. Lisa, you need to be very careful who you trust right now. I know. The question is, can I trust you? Meet me at my house. Tonight. 7 o'clock. Come alone and bring whatever you were given today. She rattled off an address in Squirrel Hill. How do I know this isn't a trap? Because... Her voice broke slightly. Melissa was my niece, and I've been hunting her killers for 3 years. The line went dead, leaving me standing in a cemetery with a flash drive that could either save my family or get us all killed. The black SUV was still there when I drove away. But now I knew something they didn't know I knew. Detective Carmen Rodriguez wasn't just a cop working a case. She was a woman with nothing left to lose. Just like me. The drive to Rodriguez's house felt like swimming through quicksand. Every red light, every slow-moving car ahead of me was another opportunity for that black SUV to catch up. I kept checking my mirrors, my heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. Squirrel Hill at dusk looked deceptively peaceful. Tree-lined streets, porch lights flickering on, the smell of someone's barbecue drifting through my cracked window. Normal life happening all around me while I carried a flash drive that could apparently topple judges and get people killed. Rodriguez's house was a narrow 2-story with peeling paint and overgrown hedges. I sat in my car for a full minute, studying the windows, looking for movement. The paranoia was eating me alive, but after today, paranoia felt like survival. I knocked. She answered immediately, like she'd been watching from behind the curtain. "Get inside. Now." The living room was sparse, clean, but lived in. Family photos covered one wall, graduation pictures, birthday parties, a young woman who looked exactly like Carmen, but with Rodriguez's eyes. Melissa. "Sit down," Rodriguez said, locking 3 different deadbolts behind me. "Show me what she gave you." I pulled out the flash drive. "First, tell me why I should trust you." "Because Melissa Carmen Rodriguez was my sister's daughter. Because I raised her after my sister died of cancer when Melissa was 16. Because 3 years ago, someone murdered the only family I had left and made it look like an accident." Her voice was steady, but her hands weren't. She poured herself 3 fingers of whiskey and didn't offer me any. "Carmen told me you were clean." "Carmen's been feeding me information for 18 months. Little pieces, nothing I could act on alone. But if what's on that drive is what I think it is..." "What do you think it is?" "Names, bank records, proof that Judge Holloway, 3 city councilmen, and half the 5th precinct have been taking money to look the other way, while loan sharks bleed families dry." She held out her hand. I gave her the drive. Her laptop was already open, waiting. The files loaded slowly, revealing spreadsheets, scanned documents, photographs of meetings in parking garages and hotel rooms. "Jesus Christ," she whispered. "This is it. This is everything. What happens now?" Now we..." The lights went out, not just in the house. The entire street went dark, like someone had thrown a switch on the whole neighborhood. "Basement," Rodriguez hissed, grabbing her service weapon. "Move." But before I could stand, the front window exploded inward in a shower of glass and wood. Smoke filled the room instantly, tear gas that burned my eyes and throat, made my lungs feel like they were on fire. Through my tears, I saw shapes moving in the darkness. 3, maybe 4 people, all wearing masks. Rodriguez was shooting, the muzzle flashes lighting up the chaos like strobes. Someone screamed. Not her, not me. One of them. "The laptop!" I heard a woman's voice shout. "Get the fucking laptop!" I was crawling blind, my hands cut by glass, when someone grabbed my ankle and started dragging me backward. I kicked, connected with something soft, heard a grunt of pain. "Lisa!" Rodriguez's voice, from somewhere across the room. "The basement door! Behind the kitchen!" I stumbled toward where I thought the kitchen was, my lungs burning, eyes streaming. Another gunshot, closer this time. Then another. The basement door was locked. I fumbled with the handle, panic making my fingers clumsy, when someone grabbed my shoulder and spun me around. Through the smoke and tears, I saw a woman's face behind a ski mask. Cold eyes, surgical gloves. "Hello, Lisa. Time to go." She pressed something against my neck, a stun gun that sent electricity shooting through my body like liquid fire. My muscles seized, my vision went white, and I collapsed. The last thing I heard before everything went black was Rodriguez screaming my name and the sound of her front door being kicked off its hinges. I woke up in the back of a moving van, my wrists zip-tied behind my back, my mouth taped shut. My neck throbbed where the stun gun had hit, and every muscle in my body felt like I'd been hit by a truck. The van smelled like industrial cleaner and something else. Something metallic that made my stomach turn. I wasn't alone. Rodriguez was beside me, unconscious, blood matting her hair. Her breathing was shallow but steady. 2 women sat across from us, both in hospital scrubs now instead of masks. One was maybe 30, blonde, with dead eyes and hands that never stopped moving. The other was older, darker, with scars on her knuckles and a smile that made my skin crawl. "She's awake," the blonde one said. "Should I dose her again?" "No, boss wants her conscious for this part." The van turned, and through the small window in the back doors, I could see we were leaving the city. Highway lights flashing past, getting fewer and farther between. "Where's the laptop?" the scarred woman asked. "Destroyed in the fire," the blonde replied. "But it doesn't matter. We got the source." "Fire?" I tried to turn, to look back toward where we'd come from, and saw an orange glow on the horizon. They'd burned Rodriguez's house, with everything in it. The van slowed, turned onto what felt like a dirt road. Gravel crunched under the tires. "Almost there," the blonde said, checking her watch. "Boss is gonna be pleased." Rodriguez stirred beside me, her eyes fluttering open. When she saw where we were, her face went white. She knew this place. Whatever was waiting for us at the end of this road, she'd been here before. The van stopped, engine off. In the sudden silence, I could hear water lapping against something. A dock, maybe? Or a pier. The back doors opened, and I saw stars reflected in black water. We were at a lake, somewhere far from any help. "Welcome to Keystone Lake," the scarred woman said, cutting my zip ties. "Population, whatever we say it is." They dragged us out of the van and toward a small building that looked like it had been abandoned for decades. But the lights were on inside, and I could hear voices. Rodriguez stumbled beside me, still groggy from whatever they'd hit her with. "Lisa," she whispered. "Whatever happens, don't tell them about the backup." "What backup?" "Carmen made copies, sent them to—" "Shut up," the blonde woman snapped, pressing her gun against Rodriguez's temple. "Save it for the boss." The door opened before we reached it. A man stepped out. Tall, expensive suit, silver hair, face I'd seen on campaign posters around the city. Judge Holloway, the man who'd let Vicky and Shauna walk free. "Detective Rodriguez," he said, like he was greeting an old friend. "And Ms. Washington, thank you for coming." "Didn't exactly have a choice," I managed. "Oh, but you did. Several, actually. You could have minded your own business. You could have let your aunt face the consequences of her poor decisions. You could have taken our generous offer to forget this whole thing ever happened." "What generous offer?" He smiled, and it was worse than the women's dead stares. "The one we're about to make you now." Behind him, 2 more people emerged from the building. A woman in a business suit who looked like she'd stepped out of a boardroom, and someone I recognized from the news, City Councilman Marcus Webb, the one who'd been pushing for police funding cuts. "Bring them inside," Holloway said. "It's time they understood how things really work in this city." The building's interior had been completely renovated. Polished floors, modern furniture, computer screens showing what looked like surveillance feeds from all over Pittsburgh. This wasn't some abandoned shack. It was a command center. "Impressive, isn't it?" the businesswoman said. "We've been building this network for 8 years. Loan operations, collection services, judicial cooperation, law enforcement partnerships, a complete ecosystem." Rodriguez was staring at one of the screens. "Those are feeds from inside police stations. Among other places. Your house, for instance. We've been watching both of you for months." They'd been in my house, my bedroom, my kitchen, my bathroom. The violation hit me like a physical blow. "What do you want?" I asked. "Simple," Holloway said. "We want you to disappear." "Kill us, you mean?" "Oh, no. Much more elegant than that. You see, tomorrow morning, Detective Rodriguez is going to be found in her burned-out house, apparently killed while investigating a gas leak. Tragic accident. And you, Ms. Washington, are going to have a complete breakdown. Quit your job, sell your house, move somewhere far away to start over." "And if I refuse?" "Then your Aunt Denise will be found in the Allegheny River, and your co-worker Sharon will have a terrible accident on her way home from work. and your neighbor Mrs. Chen will suffer a home invasion gone wrong. The room spun. They had files on everyone I cared about. Photos, addresses, daily routines. You're insane. We're thorough, the businesswoman corrected. This city generates over $40 million annually through our various enterprises. We employ hundreds of people, provide services the legitimate economy can't or won't provide. We are, in many ways, more effective than the official government. You're criminals. We're entrepreneurs, and you've just seen behind the curtain of a very successful business. Rodriguez spoke up, her voice stronger now. The FBI is already investigating. Carmen sent copies of everything to Agent Sarah Chen of the Pittsburgh field office? Councilman Webb smiled. Yes, we know. She's been very cooperative. Shame about her gambling debts. My blood turned to ice. Even the FBI was compromised. However, Holloway continued, we're not unreasonable people. Ms. Washington, you have a choice. Accept our offer, a comfortable relocation, a new identity, a substantial settlement to help you start over, or watch everyone you care about die slowly while you spend your final hours wishing you'd been smarter. How long do I have to decide? You don't. He checked his watch. The decision's already been made. The only question is whether you leave here in a car or in a bag. That's when the lights went out again. But this time, the darkness was our friend. Down! Rodriguez shouted, and I hit the floor as gunshots erupted from outside the building. Through the windows, I could see muzzle flashes, hear shouting, the sound of vehicles arriving fast. Federal agents! Someone yelled through a bullhorn. Building is surrounded! Holloway was screaming orders, but half his people were already running for the back exit. The businesswoman pulled a gun, but Rodriguez tackled her before she could use it. In the chaos, I saw my chance and took it. I grabbed one of the laptops from the desk and ran for the front door. Outside was chaos. FBI vehicles everywhere, agents in tactical gear, spotlights turning night into day. And standing beside the lead vehicle, directing the operation, was Carmen, no longer in hospital scrubs, but wearing an FBI windbreaker. Carmen! I shouted, running toward her. Lisa! Thank God! Where's Rodriguez? Inside, fighting with... The building exploded. Not the whole thing. Just the back section where we'd been held. Someone had set off charges, probably destroying evidence, maybe trying to kill witnesses. Rodriguez! I screamed, starting back toward the flames. Carmen grabbed my arm. She's trained for this. Let the tactical team handle it. But I could see the building was fully engulfed now, flames reaching into the night sky. If Rodriguez was still inside... She knew this was a trap, Carmen said quietly. She volunteered to be bait. What? The meeting at her house, bringing you there. She knew they'd come for you. We needed them to reveal their base of operations. You used me as bait too? We used everyone, including myself. I've been undercover for 2 years, building this case. Tonight was the only chance we had to get them all in one place. Agents were bringing people out of the building in zip ties. Holloway, the businesswoman, several others I didn't recognize. But no Rodriguez. Then I saw her, emerging from the flames with 2 agents, her clothes smoking, her face black with soot, but alive. She saw me and grinned. Told you I'd been hunting these bastards for 3 years. Is it over? I asked. Carmen looked at the burning building, at the line of prisoners being loaded into federal vehicles, at the evidence they were collecting from the van. The local operation, yeah. But this was just one city, Lisa. One network in one place. Meaning? Meaning the war just started.